It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't an error. It was a declaration of war. A poisoned dagger aimed at the heart of our oldest alliance, the special relationship that secured peace in the West for 80 years. A war waged by our own state broadcaster, using your money, against the democratic process of the free world's leader. The BBC has been caught. Not just with its hand in the cookie jar, but attempting to burn the entire house down with a blowtorch of fabricated reality. They thought no one would notice. They thought their arrogance, nurtured for a century in the gilded echo chamber of Broadcasting House, was an impenetrable shield. They were wrong. And now the whole rotten edifice, built on a mountain of our money and a century of assumed authority, is beginning to tremble. The question is no longer if the BBC is biased. That ship sailed long ago, disappearing over a horizon of metropolitan condescension, loaded with contempt for the very people it's meant to serve. The question is now a terrifying one: if they are willing to commit an act of information terrorism on the world stage to influence a US presidential election, what unforgivable lies are they telling you, every single day, about your own country? The mainstream media, the establishment's loyal stenographers, are desperately trying to frame this. They call it a serious error. An editing mistake. A clumsy slip-up by an overworked junior editor in a darkened room somewhere in Salford. Do not be fooled. This is the greatest lie of all, the lie designed to cover the crime. This was not a mistake. This was a sophisticated, malicious, and deliberate act of political sabotage, executed with the precision of a military operation. To take two separate, distinct clips of a world leader, filmed an hour apart in entirely different contexts, and splice them together to create a fake narrative of inciting violence, that is not journalism. That is a black operation. It is the work of a state propaganda machine, a deepfake in all but name. It is a psyop, a calculated deception straight from the playbook of the old Soviet Union's Pravda, designed for maximum impact on the eve of an election. One clip, a moment of solemn tribute to fallen soldiers, a quiet and respectful gesture at a D-Day commemoration. The other, a raucous political rally, full of energy and partisan noise. Stitched together like some Frankenstein's monster of misinformation, creating a grotesque and utterly false impression of mockery and disrespect towards the very heroes who saved our civilization. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were trying to rig the narrative, to poison the well, to interfere in a foreign election from their taxpayer-funded fortress in London. And they did it with your money. Every single pound you are forced to pay for your television license, under threat of fines, bailiffs, and imprisonment, funded this act of international humiliation. They are not reporting the news. They are manufacturing it. And their secret motive is now laid bare for all to see, to protect the crumbling globalist consensus at all costs. To destroy any leader, any movement, any idea that threatens their power, their Davos parties, their dream of a world without borders, without nations, without you. Donald Trump is a threat to their cozy world order, their net zero targets that deindustrialize our nation, their open-door migration policies. So he had to be destroyed. And they thought the British public were too stupid, too distracted by the cost of living crisis they helped create, to ever find out. This is the devastating truth of the two-tier system that now governs and suffocates Britain. There is one set of rules for the elite, and another, far harsher set, for you. The first tier is for them, the smug, self-satisfied establishment. The Keir Starmers, the Ed Davies, the legions of BBC executives on six-figure salaries, like Tim Davie on over £500,000 a year, gliding from their Islington townhouses to their sanitized studios. They can lie. They can manipulate. They can doctor evidence and broadcast it as unimpeachable fact to millions. And when caught red-handed, they apologize for the error, commission an internal review that will find nobody culpable, and carry on as if nothing happened. They are protected. They are insulated. They are accountable to no one but each other. They sneer at you from their studios, from the benches of Parliament, convinced of their moral superiority while committing acts of profound, unforgivable dishonesty. Their world is one of expense account lunches, diversity seminars, and a complete, utter detachment from the lives of the people who pay their wages. Then there is the second tier. That's for you. The British taxpayer. The lorry driver listening to their lies on the radio while stuck in traffic on a potholed motorway. The nurse finishing a brutal 12-hour shift in a crumbling hospital, only to be lectured about her carbon footprint by a presenter who flies first class to climate conferences. The pensioner choosing between heating and eating, terrified of the next bill, knowing a single mother was prosecuted for not paying the very fee that funded this lie. The veteran, betrayed by the country they served, watching the nation's broadcaster defame our closest ally and desecrate the memory of D-Day. You are the ones who must pay. You are forced, under threat of prosecution and a criminal record, to fund this cabal. You pay for your own indoctrination. You pay for them to ignore the industrial-scale grooming gangs in our towns for decades, but dedicate hours of fawning coverage to the pronouns of a pop star. You pay for them to tell your children that their country's history is nothing but shame and bigotry. You pay for them to lecture you about your privilege and your unconscious bias from people who have never done a real day's work in their lives. You pay for them to broadcast their contempt for your values, your history, and your flag. While they spend millions on this political warfare, our own country crumbles. Our borders are a sieve, with thousands arriving illegally in small boats, a crisis the BBC frames as a humanitarian issue, never a national security threat. Our industries are gone, sacrificed on the altar of globalism. Our streets feel less safe, a fact they obscure with skewed statistics and happy talk stories. But they don't care. Because their loyalty isn't to you, or to Britain. It is to the supranational, globalist system that feeds them and validates their sense of importance. This isn't just a scandal. It is a humiliation. A British institution, a once respected voice around the world, has been exposed as a cheap, partisan attack dog for the globalist left. And who is leading the charge to defend this cesspit of corruption? Keir Starmer. Of course. Sir Keir Starmer, the man who personifies the establishment, stands shoulder to shoulder with the liars. He stands up in Parliament, not to condemn this unforgivable breach of trust, not to demand accountability for the criminal misuse of public funds, but to defend the BBC. He defends the institution, not the truth. He defends the system, not the people. He is a coward, a man so utterly captured by the blob that he cannot bring himself to criticize the media arm of his own political class. This is the man who was once the nation's chief prosecutor, the director of public prosecutions. A man who supposedly understands evidence, who sent people to prison based on it. Yet here he is, defending the blatant fabrication of evidence on our national broadcaster. It reveals everything. He needs the BBC. His entire hollow project, his entire campaign of platitudes and broken promises, depends on its propaganda. Without the BBC to run cover for him, to attack his opponents, and to tell the public that his vision of managed decline, of higher taxes and closer alignment with Brussels, is sensible and grown up, his entire political career would evaporate into the thin air from which it was summoned. He is the ultimate company man for a bankrupt corporation. And he is aided by useful idiots like Ed Davey, a political irrelevance who shrieks about attacks on our BBC, as if defending a demonstrable lie is a patriotic act. They are the villains of this story. The defenders of deceit. The heroes. They are the ones the establishment fears most. They are the outsiders. A force like Donald Trump. Who has the guts to take on the machine and sue them into oblivion? A force like Nigel Farage and Reform UK, who have been warning about this media cartel for decades, enduring endless smears, ridicule, and character assassination, only to be proven right in the most spectacular and public fashion. And the ultimate hero? The British people. The millions who are finally waking up, who see the scam for what it is, who are refusing to be gaslit any longer. The tide is turning. The silence is breaking. The anger is building. This is a quiet revolution, happening in pubs, in WhatsApp groups, on channels like this one. And the elite are terrified. This is their nightmare. Accountability. For years, they have operated with total impunity. They have ruined reputations, distorted debates, silenced dissent, and poisoned our national life, all from behind the impenetrable shield of the license fee. But that shield is now shattered. Trump isn't just suing the BBC, he is putting the entire corrupt system on trial in the court of global public opinion. He is dragging their dirty secrets out from the shadows of Broadcasting House and into the harsh light of day. He is demanding discovery. Emails. Memos. Internal communications. He is demanding to put the producers, the editors, the executives under oath and ask them one simple question: who gave the order? The days of consequence-free propaganda are over. This lawsuit, whether it wins or loses in some dusty courtroom, has already won. It has exposed the rot at the heart of our national broadcaster for the entire world to see. It has confirmed every suspicion, validated every warning, and armed the British people with the undeniable truth. So the final question is not for them. It is for us. We have seen the evidence. We know they lied. We know they used our money to do it. We know our own political leaders, the so-called opposition, will rush to protect them. So, what happens next is up to you. How much longer will we be forced to pay for the very institution that holds us, our values, and the truth itself in utter contempt? How much more of our national dignity must be sacrificed on the altar of their political agenda? They are counting on you to forget. They are hoping your anger will fade. They want this story to disappear. They want you to move on to the next manufactured outrage, the next distraction they dangle in front of you. Don't let them. This moment is a line in the sand. It is a choice between a future where a state-funded media cartel dictates reality, and a future where the truth has a fighting chance. Sharing this video is an act of defiance. Your comment is a vote for the truth. Let me know below, is it finally time to defund the BBC? A simple yes or no. Subscribe to this channel, because the battle for the soul of Britain is here, it is now, and it will not be won by staying silent. The truth will not be televised. It will be shared.